Megavon and welcome, friends, to another episode of the Lord of the Wrongs podcast, the only Tolkien podcast the professor himself would dismiss as juvenile and crass. My name is Dan Zerby, and together with my good friend and co-host Sean Kelly, we'll be discussing the writings, adaptation, news, games, and anything else related to J.R. Tolkien's Legendarium in a way he would probably not agree or not approve of.
Either way.
Yeah, definitely he wouldn't agree with the way we do things. He wouldn't approve of the way we do things.
But we hope he might be entertained by it.
Yeah, he might be amused by some parts and
and
parts
frustrated by others.
Be like, what the hell are you idiots doing? Anyway, hey, Sean.
Hey, Zerb. How we doing?
Doing fine. My head's still spinning thinking about video games from our last episode.
Just figured you needed a little time to recover from that. So we
Jesus Christ.
We decided to move on to one of your favorite subjects. But first, is there any Tolkien stuff going on in your life right now? Any updates?
In updates, I finished rereading Lord of the Rings for the millionth time. I'm still listening to the Andy Serkis narrated Silmarillion audiobook, which is just awesome. It's so great. It's so great.
I finished his audiobook of all three of the Lord of the Rings sections, all 6 books, all one book. However you decide to break it up.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, I guess that's worth slightly explaining to people who haven't read the books. The book is one book.
Yeah, Tolkien wanted it to be a single volume. It's sort of designed to be one book, but that book is broken up into 6 quote unquote books. Which sort of cover different sections of the story, which makes a natural stopping point for 3 volumes to be separated into 2 books apiece, which is are the 3 that we know and love today. Yeah, which Tolkien was not happy about. He really did not like, especially the 2 Towers. I mean, book 3 and 4 really don't have much of any crossover whatsoever. It's really just, okay, here's what's happening with the 3 hunters, and Sam and Frodo are doing their thing, and there's no overlap at all, which he thought was a little awkward.
Besides the brief,
I don't see a problem with it, honestly, after reading it several times.
The brief mention of like things that are happening simultaneously, they are pretty much entirely not connected.
Yeah.
But his versions of the audiobooks are pretty brilliantly read. Not to knock
notch.
Who did the previous
version? I have
of
all of those audiobooks on my phone as well. So let me look it up real quick.
I should consider me shocked, but I'm gonna move on to the Silmarillion after this to finally at least listen through the whole thing at once instead of just sort of reading every part of it piecemeal like I have.
Right, yeah. I will say, related to Tolkien audiobooks, as I'm looking up the name of the guy who did the more famous, I guess, or the earlier version of the Lord of the Rings books, Christopher Lee narrates The Children of Húrin, and it just freaking rules.
Yeah.
Rob Inglis. Damn it.
Yes.
Rob Inglis did the,
And I mean, he also did
a great job. He did. Yeah, they were great. But Andy Serkis he has specific voices
acting
for every single character, has a unique voice.
And they're distinct. And even he'll do,
the character work is incredible.
He'll do voices for characters as told, like as quoted by another character, and it's like, how do you Gandalf will be telling a story, and he'll do like Smeagol's voice when in
Gandalf doing Smeagol's voice. It's so it's awesome. He does it's
we're not we're not getting paid to say any of this.
No,
it just really is that good. As soon as he put out The Hobbit, I told like every single person I knew, whether they were into Tolkien or not, like, you have to get this audiobook. It's the best audiobook you're ever going to hear.
Yeah, listening through those books again made me think of about 10 different corrections that I've all slipped my mind immediately afterwards. So we're still gonna need those corrections, folks, when you come across them. But just remember that we're just kind of doing a lot of this off the dome, and it's not always going to be.
Yeah, I don't think 100%. It's fair to say we don't write the episodes, because we write a general outline of where we're going to go with the episodes.
And we do look up the relevant topic. It's the diversion sort of things.
Yeah, when
once we get into the
stuff,
weeds,
that's where you can be like, okay, they might not have got that right. If you hear that lasts at least 3-4 seconds.
That's
how you know. Yeah, it's a really long that's when you know you can doubt us.
So
actually, even when we're confident, maybe we should be doubted too. Because
that's probably true. But yeah, I gotta throw on the dunce cap and head into correction corner here.
Yeah, crawl on your belly to correction corner, you snake.
Oh, okay. It's a little aggressive, but I will prostrate myself and submit myself to whatever penance is required of me for my bold claims at the end of the last episode that
our claims are always bold. You notice that? We only make bold claims.
Bold and often outlandish, but
regularly
we haven't gotten a lot of them right, but one of these days. Yeah, so I claim that Tolkien was pretty obsessed with Pong, an avid gamer at the advent of video games. Once again, with like a lot of our corrections,
timeline issue.
Yeah, I can't disprove it, but it seems pretty highly unlikely. Pong came out in 1972, and Tolkien passed in 73, so
it's possible.
It's possible still, but not very likely.
It's very, very unlikely, I would say.
Yeah. So my bad.
maybe John's bad. I'm not willing to let him just fall on his sword here, because it's possible, and you can't prove that Tolkien didn't play Pong. So
yeah, I'm gonna
prove negative. So it's possible.
I'm just gonna go out and say it's most likely my bad. So there you go.
Right. Yeah.
Consider myself corrected. But on to our topic today. This is a return to form after all these specials.
Hell yeah. We've had our Rings of Chowder special. We had our video game special last episode. And now we're back to form with talking about one of my favorite characters, if not a particularly important character, Tom Bombail.
Hey, doll, Matty doll, Tom Bombadil.
Oh my God, he's here. Hi, Tom Bombail. How's it going? I thought you couldn't make it onto the podcast today.
Yes, it's me. I see. I was hoping I could do more improv Bombadillo lines.
Tom Bombadillion.
It's pretty early. But in Bombadillion, it's pretty early in the morning for me. So
yeah, you worked till 11 p.m. last night. So.
Yeah, that makes it a little tougher to.
Yeah, we're both still drinking our morning tea, so
yeah, I don't have too much. I'll see if I could drop some lines now and again, but yeah, we're talking about Tom Bombail.
Yeah, just do your best, Sean. I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah, we're talking about Tom Bombail, and for anybody listening who's only seen perhaps the Lord of the Rings movies, you're asking yourself, who is Tom Bombadil? And you know what? You're not the only person to ask that question. In fact,
yeah, I'm still wondering.
Frodo asked that question twice.
And kind of gets the same answer twice, really.
Pretty much,
and it's
yeah.
it's a great answer and a bad answer.
Yeah, but before we give you what that answer is, I suppose we should tell you a little bit about who this wacky character is.
What his part in the story is.
Yeah, just some context, yeah.
And we mentioned already in previous episodes how they meet Bombadil, and that's when half of them are stuck inside of Old Man Willow.
That is phrasing.
And
I just want to say phrasing.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. But after,
that's why Tolkien wouldn't like our podcast.
No. But yeah, I mean, the only reason they know who Old Man Willow is because they call out for help.
Yeah,
this guy, we'll just call him a guy now. For now, comes dancing along and
skipping along. Yeah. So, as the hobbits are passing through the old forest, trying to make their way to Bree, while not being seen, of course, they get, as you might expect, eaten by a tree.
Yeah,
we talked about Old Man Willow. Yeah, we talked a bit about Old Man Willow in our tree episode. I don't remember which number episode that was, but
it would be great if it was episode 3, but it definitely wasn't. I believe
it wasn't. But episode 3 about trees would be pretty good. 3 for tree, but that's probably not what it is. Anyway,
no.
So, and they get saved by this fella. So, as Merry and Pippin are getting squeezed to death inside inside this tree, Frodo's just frantically shouting up and down the lane, the little path they've been following for help. And he hears this big, jolly, booming voice singing a nonsense song. And that big, booming voice singing nonsense is our friend and yours, Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, well, Tom Bombadil, he's a merry fellow dancing in the willows. Yeah, he likes to. He basically exclusively sings, or at least speaks in rhythm or in a meter.
Yeah,
pretty much always chanting.
Yeah. We were trying to figure out exactly what meter Tom Bombadil does all of his singing, certainly, and most all of his speaking, even. And
it's not concrete.
Not an English
he
major.
Changes it up.
It does change a little bit. It's not totally consistent.
It seems like there are 4 metric feet, which would be basically 8 syllables per line, but then sometimes there's like 10, and then there isn't really a clear. It's like accented sort of poetry, but it's not like it has clear. It's not like iambic pentameter like Shakespeare used.
It's not quite like that. But it makes sense that it would be inconsistent too, because this is just how he communicates. It's
just a random sort of
songy, poetic way of speaking. Yeah,
but it's pleasing and a little confounding to read, and I would imagine to hear. But anyway,
especially if your friends are being suffocated inside a tree, and this dude's just like, "Hey, doll daddy, doll Bombadil,"
and you're like, "What?
Can you help?
Can you help?" He
what
does.
have we got here?
He basically scolds this tree.
He does. He does. It's like, you naughty tree.
Shames it into letting them go, and then he takes them back to his house to meet his hot wife.
Yeah, his hot water wife, which, as I say it out loud, I actually realize I hate that turn of phrase, and I apologize for saying it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not quite.
I don't know why. I just saw it sounds
Doesn't quite
terrible.
have meaning. It just sounds weird. But
Anyway, his wife
a
is
Goldberry.
pretty blonde lady named Goldberry.
Yeah.
Who is
Beautiful like the spring.
Yes. She is the river daughter. We've also mentioned Goldberry before as well when we were talking about the Valar, because I think we mentioned that there are just, when we are talking about Ulmo, that there are other water spirits. Like, it's not just Ulmo is of course the Valar in charge of all the water on Arda, but there are other spirits, and Goldberry, Tom Bombadil's wife, is one of those. She is the river daughter. And
not very specific, but it's at least a little more specific than we get about Tom. So
it is actually more specific than we get about Tom.
We'll discuss their nature in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But they basically hang out. I mean, we'll just kind of blast through their story. They just hang out at their house for like a day and a half or something like that. And
a couple days,
and then he kind of sends them back on their way after they rest and recover a little, and then they end up stumbling into the Barrow Downs, which are the burial mounds of the old kings of the northern kingdom of Arnor, of the Númenóreans, and get attacked in a very creepy way.
One of the most creepy passages in the entire book, I would argue, between that and like the Paths of the Dead. Those are the two like creepiest parts of the book, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. Besides the whole like getting stalked by ringwraiths thing, Frodo gets sort of like grabbed at by this disembodied hand of evil sort of thing, and
these evil wights that live in the barrows.
A
wight is basically a resurrected corpse. Yeah, in this case, it's like a living corpse. It's kind of a zombie. Not zombie as in like the George Romero, but it's kind of like that. Yeah,
I would say halfway between zombie and ghost, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's a corpse that has been.
It's on the ghost side of a ghoul.
Yeah.
It's it's still a spirit. It's on the ghost side of a ghoul.
There's an evil spirit in a corpse, basically, that was put there by the Witch King.
Side of a spirit. There's
the Witch King of Angmar put bad spirits into the corpses of these old kings and men of the West, and so were of the Kingdom of Arnor back in the day.
Okay. So
they're like ghosts and ghouls at the same time, but they're white.
Yeah.
So okay. Anyway,
we're getting bogged down in semantics on maybe one of the less important details of the story. Basically, Frodo yells for help. is the point we're trying to get to.
Well, again. Tom taught him a song, taught the hobbits a song to sing if they ever get into trouble. And that song is
they immediately
more nonsense about Tom Bombadil. Yeah.
Yes, of course it is.
So Tom Bombadil, in appearance, I think we can start with that too. He is taller than a hobbit, taller than a dwarf, but less than the height of a man. So he's a short king. He's one of our short kings.
Yes, we stan our short king.
Yeah, that's right.
As the kids probably say.
Yeah, he's got a big bushy beard, brown. With twinkling eyes, a good-natured face, and as if you read the book, you'll know from the song, bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow.
Yeah,
So that covers most of his appearance. He's usually covered in leaves and shit in his hair.
He's basically like raincoat hobo Santa.
Wow, that is pretty damn dead on. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was
at
good.
least
like
appearance wise, he's not giving gifts out or anything. But
yeah. Although he does stock the hobbits with provisions when he does send them on their way. But yeah,
I guess.
He gives them the gift of sanctuary and rest because they have no fear really of the outside when they're in the house of Tom Bombadil, because Tom Bombadil is master of his land.
Well, there's one thing we get on who he is, but that's pretty much the last we see of Tom Bombadil after he basically just busts some ghosts and sends them on their way. Well, he goes to them almost to Bree with them, right? Or no, he goes to the next town.
No, not even that. He doesn't pass the barrow, the downs. Like once.
Yeah. Well,
he doesn't move beyond his land, really.
Is it? No, yeah. But I thought they got.
He doesn't leave the borders.
Oh no, he just tells them where to go. And
he
ends up like their ponies just kind of go back to Tom, and then he sends them to Bree.
They're scared off. Yeah, the ponies are scared off by the Barrow Wights, and they meet up with Tom's. And this is my favorite name in all of the Legendarium. The ponies, as they're frightened off by the Barrow Wights, they go off running, and they meet up with Tom's pony, whose name is Fatty Lumpkin.
Oh, yes.
I fucking love Fatty Lumpkin.
It's just so like
it's so good.
It's such a mean thing to call someone, but it's also just
he's a barrel-shaped horse, though, man. I mean, he's just a barrel-shaped pony. It's Fatty Lumpkin fucking rules.
Yeah, I mean, if we know,
the name makes me
Tom
so happy.
Probably also. I mean, he's a being of power. That's probably the horse's true name.
Could be. Yes, it could be.
Which just makes it even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
Hi, my name is Fatty Lumpkin. I'm a pony.
Yeah, that's how I imagine his pony to speak as well. That's definitely a good Fatty Lumpkin voice.
Hey, my name. I'm Fatty. I'm Tom's pony. What's up, Fatty Lumpkin? How you doing?
Yeah, well, he, obviously leads the other ponies, because why wouldn't you follow Tom's pony? I mean, who wouldn't follow a Fatty Lumpkin to the ends of the earth?
I mean, a pony with that kind of charisma.
Yeah, that's a rizzed up horse. It's a tiny horse. So, all right, anyway. Basically, that's the end of Tom's story. And
yes, which is why he was left out of every single adaptation of Lord of the Rings, because it's not that he doesn't serve a purpose, but he's not central or particularly important to the story.
It's not really necessary to tell the story as it is. It's more of it's one of those details that sort of adds a depth and a mystery to the world that, it does serve a purpose, but you can.
Yeah, but it's not central to what happens. Yeah.
No. So, all right. So, would you like to talk about who you think Tom is, or what you think he is, and Goldberry for that matter?
Yeah. Well, I think there are spirits that are certainly akin to each other. So they're not. The thing with the Tom Bombadil and Goldberry to a slightly lesser degree is that he's just kind of a anomaly, I mean,
that's the sort of real answer.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the real answer. It's not as fun an answer, but you're not supposed to know. There's no solid answer. Even Tolkien wasn't probably sure exactly the nature of Tom Bombadil. There's lots of
just a mystery of the world, basically.
Yeah, it's just and there are mysteries in our world, and there are mysteries in Middle Earth as well. And Tom is one of them. Like, there's just, there's lots of there's a lot of theories. I've heard the theory that Tom Bombadil is Tolkien putting himself into the story, which is, it's just not. Yeah, sorry. No, that's not correct. There's a lot of conjecture. He might be a Maya, but he's not. We know he's not a Maya either.
So what's the answer that the Goldberry gives?
Well, Frodo, when they first arrive in the house of Tom Bombadil, in the chapter in the house of Tom Bombadil, Frodo asks Goldberry specifically, he says, "Tell me if my asking does not seem foolish, who is Tom Bombadil?" And Goldberry replies simply, "He is."
Yeah, that guy over there, that's Tom Bombail.
Yeah. Now I know what you're thinking, because Frodo has the same thing. Frodo looked at her questioningly. And she's like, "He is, as you have seen him. He is the master of wood, water, and hill." He's Tom Bombadil. That's who he is. And if you find that answer frustrating, I understand. That's very reasonable to feel frustrated by that answer. So, Frodo actually ends up asking another time before leaving. This time asks Tom himself. And he just says, "Who are you, master?" Tom says, in response to that, "Huh?" Actually, he says, "Hey, what? Don't you know my name yet? That's the only answer. Who are you, alone, yourself, and nameless?" It's like that, man. So yeah, there's your answer.
Yeah, I guess
there's your non-answer, guys.
Hits him with the clap back. Just
it's like,
who am I?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah, who are you if you don't have a name? Huh?
Yeah,
just in and of yourself, who are you? It's a hell of a question to answer in response. It doesn't help satisfy the curiosity even a little bit, but it does raise an interesting philosophical question, I suppose.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think as you get more into Tolkien, you just sort of grow to accept that there are just things that you're just never going to know about
there are enigmas.
This world. Yeah.
The more you sit with it, the more comfortable you get with these enigmas and not having an answer, because there's most of the questions that one would have about the Legendarium, like, there is an answer.
Yeah.
Or
many of them. But
I think most questions you could ask, it's such a deep world that you could have an answer, which is why it's so unsatisfying when you come across these enigmas like Tom that are just kind of meant to be enigmas.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of instances of, and they were never seen again, or, we don't know exactly what happened to this person or thing or whatever. But
yeah,
that sort of seems more like an artifact of this being sort of an in-story history book, as opposed to just sort of a general mystery like this. But I would say, so my sort of theory, so there's this thing called a genius loci, which is it's like a Roman mythology concept of a spirit of a place.
Yes.
And so I think he is sort of the spirit of the old forest. Now, I don't know if that's because he sort of adopted it, or if he sort of came as a package deal with the old forest, but
we know he is eldest.
Yes.
He is the oldest thing in Middle-earth.
They say, Gandalf says that a Treebeard is the oldest living thing.
Living thing, yes. Which implies that Tom is not really alive, because he's not.
Yeah, he's not a sort of standard being.
Yeah, he's not a man. He's not an elf. He's not a dwarf. He's not a hobbit. He's none of those things. He's not an elf.
So I think he is just I think he's a direct product of the Song of the Valar.
Yes, agreed.
Which
I think so as well.
Because he, speaks only in meter and song, sort of, at least, if not supports the theory, it goes along with it.
and he, he's one of the, he's oldest. So, I mean, clearly he's been around since probably around the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that he reminds me kind of. He wouldn't be the exact opposite, but I think his existence is similar, I think, to Ungoliant's existence in that it's just like this is something that was somewhere in the music and took form with the music.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that Ungoliant could be some sort of Ainu, but maybe not a Maiar. And, Tom might be in sort of the same boat of being, some spirit that was sort of sung into being, but isn't, or like was a spirit beforehand and was sort of, made into this thing. But, at the end of the day, we don't know.
We don't know. It's all the whole thing is. I mean, that's one of the good things about having these unexplainable enigmas in a story. It's like something for us to talk about because there are so many real, in universe answers to so many questions. When you get something like this, it makes it fun to talk about.
Yeah, and it is, I would say, a little easier to define Goldberry than Tom.
Yeah, because Tom has such a power, and this is something else that we haven't mentioned this yet, but this is actually really quite remarkable, and also kind of also makes him less important to the story. The ring has absolutely no influence over Tom.
Yeah, he just
Tom actually takes the ring. Well, he asks Frodo to hand him the ring. And Frodo, to his own shock, just goes, "Yeah, sure, here you go," and just hands it to him. Tom is like, "Oh, look at that!" And he flips it up in the air. He puts it on his finger, and they're all shocked to see that he does not disappear. Then he flips it into the air. Seemingly, it disappears to Frodo's utter panic,
shock,
shock and horror and panic, and then Tom just like hands it back to him, no problem. He's like, "Oh, look at this!"
He looks through it, like through the hole of the ring.
That's
it's
right.
Just like, hey, I don't get what's so special about this thing.
It's like, I'm sorry, this is
such
dangerous. I don't get it, but okay, whatever. I'm here to, I'm happy to help you. Doesn't seem like a big deal to me, Tom Bombail.
Yeah. Which just sort of reinforces the idea that he's sort of not of the world. He's certainly not a normal being. Because
I mean, any Maya. Or even you could argue,
even a Valar,
probably could potentially be corrupted by the power of the ring. I mean, Gandalf doesn't dare to take it. Galadriel refuses to take it. Like all these really powerful beings are like terrified because they know what would happen to them if they took the ring. And then you have Tom Bombadil, who's really quite casual, which is another thing that irks Frodo a little bit, that he's so casual about this thing.
It's like, hey, this is a big deal, man. Come on.
You're not taking this very seriously. I don't know why I made Frodo into a nerd.
Well, in that sort of context, it works.
It really does. That is the energy of that passage in the book, yeah.
But I would say one theory about that, I guess for me, is he gives so little of a shit that it literally just like has zero power over him.
Yeah, and that's something in the Council of Elrond. I don't remember who it was. I think it was one of the elves. I don't think it was Glorfindel, but I think it was one of the other elves. Mentions like, if
Galdor, maybe
it may have been Galdor. Yeah, I'm not sure. But one of the elves that only makes like one appearance and says like, "Oh, could we not bring this ring to Bombadil since he seems to have some power over it?" And then Gandalf corrects him to say, "Better to say that it has no power over him." So Tom's just like kind of incorruptible, which makes it very unlikely that he's a Maya.
And also,
I think you're right. He's like a product of the song.
Yeah, Gandalf also says he'd probably just lose it. He doesn't care. He'd just be dancing around looking for lilies.
Yeah, he says like, oh, he might take it if all the free people begged him, but he would not be a safe guardian because he's just not worried about it because he's Tom Bombail.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's
but
like,
he doesn't.
Yeah,
he's not. He's a flake. You can't get him to leave his house.
He's got ADHD. He's easily distracted, and you can't trust the ring with him. That's all. Just because he'll be like, I'll just leave it on the countertop. They'll probably be fine there.
Yeah, he'd just be giving it a hey doll, Mary doll, dancing in the willows.
Yeah.
What the hell is this thing? Where did I put this ring? Whatever.
DB Bombadillo.
Yeah, he's definitely he's an entertaining character and a good distraction and all that, but he just doesn't have a role to play in it. He has a role to play in the story, but not in the
War of the Ring.
No, not in the events of Middle Earth. But we kind of got sidetracked. Goldberry is called the River Daughter, and I would say she's pretty much just a water nymph.
I was gonna use the word nymph as well, even though it's not a word Tolkien uses in his Legendarium. I don't believe at any point. But it's as good a word as any to describe her. Yeah. She's like she's just a spirit of the river, of the Withywindle.
Yeah.
Which is another really fun word to say.
Yes. There's a lot of
Tom Bombadil, Withywindle. Fatty Lumpkin.
She's a lady fair of golden hair who's dancing in the springtime.
Yes.
The River Daughter who puts the nymph in nympho. He does. It's a little. There's a lot of language of Frodo, especially, but I think all the hobbits just kind of like. Just checking out Tom's wife blatantly in front of him, and he's just like, yes, you like what you see now?
Isn't my wife a super babe?
Yeah,
It's so funny. Yeah. Oh, wait. Here's the passage because it makes me giggle every time. While Goldberry busied herself about the table, and their eyes followed her, for the slender grace of her movement filled them with quiet delight. Now, that could be read as pretty, just enjoying the beauty of this
innocent,
lovely woman. Yeah, it's innocent. Or could also be read as nice. Hello, nurse.
Wow, I didn't know he had such a repertoire of cartoon
I watched a lot of Looney Tunes as a child.
Yeah, but she, apparently she's an absolute babe, and
dime piece.
Yeah, she just kind of just likes hanging out by the river and just likes flowers and dancing and all that sort of innocent, pretty lady stuff that we see in Tolkien. But she does. I think the second day that they're there in the morning, there's a deluge of rain outside, and they're like,
great use of that word deluge, by the way.
Yeah, and they kind of look out and they're like, what the hell's going on? And Tom's like, oh yes, it's Goldberry spring cleaning. And they're like,
it's Goldberry's washing day.
Yeah, so she clearly sort of controls probably the water cycle in the old forests and around the river, but it all lines up with her being like a spirit of the river there.
Yeah, it's about as simple as we could probably make it. He's a river spirit.
And there's still more mystery to her, exactly, like, what level of spirit she is and all that. But it's, obviously it's not as big of a mystery as Tom. But once again, we don't get a definitive answer, and there shouldn't be one, frankly.
It's just another part of the fun is, having these things that we just don't have a solid answer to. It's.
So
again, I've gotten so much more comfortable not knowing the more I've read about and the more answers I get to other questions, the more comfortable I am not having answers to some of these other questions.
Yeah, I think the more you get into Tolkien, the less you care about those mysteries and the more you want other, like, more stuff that's different,
Yeah.
Like, you don't even, like, obviously the plenty of stuff can be fleshed out, but you just want more of more stories and more of his writings. But the stuff that's there that we don't have answers to, the more comfortable you get with it. I don't know. It's a weird,
which is a good lesson for life, actually. Yeah,
really.
It's like, with not knowing things, because most things that there are to know, you won't know. So
yeah, it works out like that. But so we've got a Mad Men of the West.
Yes. We're back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Probably. We're just we're back to it. We're gonna hit some bits now.
Hey, doll, Mary doll, Tom Bombadillo. If you need to clean your house, you better get a Brillo.
I knew that's where you're going with this.
I mean, it was kind of it's low-hanging fruit.
But it does work because, we were just talking about Goldberries cleaning day.
Yeah, her washing day, she's just out there on the riverbank just scrubbing a bunch of trees with a Brillo pad. I mean, it just...
Tom Brillo.
I'm just imagining, in the adaptation that we eventually get to, which is going to be, I don't know, probably 15 hours long. It's got to be a mini series or something.
I think so. I think it'd have to be. And it's more opportunity for sponsors and stuff.
Of course, yeah, exactly. It's got to be loaded. And I think they look out. They look out and they're like, what's going on in the rain? And Tom's like, oh, it's Goldberries washing day. And she's just out there in, like, one of those classic, like, oh, you know what? She's in Daisy Dukes and like a tied-on shirt. And she's out there, like, scrubbing pots with a Brillo pad.
While Warren's Cherry Pie plays in the background.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and they're just...
It's like a car wash scene in a movie. It's like that sort of thing.
I don't know how you get the bounce, but like in a Tom Bombadil sort of meter. But we'll leave that to the the composer, whoever is going to be in charge of that monstrosity.
I don't know. I still like the idea of Cherry Pie by Warren playing or Tom singing it.
Oh, no, yeah.
Cherry Pie. Who'll drink of woman such a sweet surprise?
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I couldn't remember enough words to try to to try to get.
It's so good, make a grown man cry. All right, sorry, I'm done singing Warren.
Yes, let's please move on from that. But yeah, I think I
don't know who the reference is even for. I mean, that's really a reference beyond us. I mean,
it's beyond the bounds of mortal knowledge for sure.
Like, I'm older than you, and I was born well after that song was a hit.
But I don't know how much money there is in Brillo, but we'll take whatever they can give us.
I'm sure it's like a Johnson & Johnson property, so they got deep pockets.
Yeah, that's right.
Or it'll be like Johnson & Johnson, 3M. Some of these big companies, I'm sure, owns Brillo, and will Deep
Yeah,
pockets.
we can
We'll
get
make
some
them
of
pay if they want a
that.
feature.
We can get some of that like messed up baby powder money or whatever that scandal was, along with whatever else we find in the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did come up with a new name for our next segment, which is I demand a recast.
All right. There's your gavel.
Yeah. But I just wanted to run it by you and see what you think, because it feels a little, it feels like a betrayal to just get rid of I demand a recast, even though it really has no bearing on the Tolkien.
No, it really doesn't.
But that's fine.
But we have been using it, so let's hear the new version. What do you got, Sean?
What about I cast it into the fire? Because it also, we're not recasting a lot. We're not like recasting Tom Bombadil. I don't think he's ever
we would
been
just be casting him.
Yeah. So we're casting him into the fire, which, in other words, we're throwing whoever this actor is into this abomination of a of a recreation adaptation.
Indeed.
So you have mentioned before.
Yes.
Jack Black.
Yeah, Jack Black is there's a piece of art that someone made of Tom Bombadil, and Jack Black is clearly the inspiration for that particular painting. I don't know if it's a piece of digital art or actual paint.
It works.
It really works. I mean,
Jack
Black really
goofy.
would be kind of perfect. Yeah,
he's around.
He's got the big beard. He's got the proper height.
He's got the belly that you just assume is on a Bombadil.
I mean, he's a jolly fellow.
He is, and he sings and I mean, I'm pretty sure, as much as I have not been able to do this Tom Bombadil meter on the spot, I cannot get it out of my head after thinking about it for too long. I think if you got Jack Black to just talk like Tom Bombadil for like 2 days, he would just be able to just speak like that.
Yeah,
just all the time.
I mean, he's a very musical guy.
He's talented, yeah, and I think he'd be great for it.
Great singer, yeah.
But I would like to submit to the the casting director here, Kevin James. What do we think about that one? I mean, it would be bad.
I know. That's the thing. It's like, it's funny, but like that was such an upsetting suggestion to me. I was very offended by that when you heard it.
Just
my initial reaction was like, ew, no way, dude.
Imagine Tom Bombadil's lines being read by like in just a normal Kevin James voice.
Oh, man.
I mean, he would just do it like, I don't know, way too fast, or just in his like, I mean, what is it, like a sort of a New York accent? I don't know. It would just be, I mean, it would be so bad, but I kind of love it too. I don't know. It would just be like if they went into the Old Forest and get saved by Kevin James, it would just be like, oh God, is that him? I mean, he's got the fit going. This can't be right though.
Oh, by the way, I just want to give quick credit to the artist who came up with the image that I was talking about, where Jack Black's inspired by Tom Bombadil. The artist is named Steve Airola. Steve Airola. So if you type in that and then Tom Bombail, you'll see the painting that we were talking about.
Oh yes, I have seen this actually, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, it is.
It's one of
It
is
is
one of my
Jack
favorite.
Black as Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite paintings I've seen of someone doing Tom Bombadil. I liked it a lot.
He has a sort of like slightly horrifying face.
There is actually something disturbing about his his face. I don't know why. It's not that it's not a the proportions
it's well
are right.
done and
There's
everything.
something about the lighting that is a little upsetting.
It's the look of his face, like
yeah,
there's something sinister behind him, just casually flipping the ring.
Yeah,
it's definitely
sinister, deranged almost.
Yes, definitely worth looking up in this audio medium.
It is a beautiful. It's a beautiful painting.
It's beautiful, and it definitely he fits. I mean,
yeah.
Is there anybody else you can think of for this?
Well, it would be impossible to cast him since he's no longer with us. But I saw another fan.
I know who you're thinking of.
Robin Williams.
Oh, I didn't know who you were thinking of.
But yeah, seeing Robin Williams photoshopped in into a Tom Bombadil outfit, I'm like, you know what? If he was still with us, that would actually
absolutely worked.
They'd have to rein him in, though. I mean, like that's because we've all heard the stories about when he did the voices for the genie in Aladdin and how like half of what he recorded couldn't be used because it was utterly filthy. That's
certainly. Yeah. They would need a lot of takes because he would be improving and it would be half unusable. Yeah. But I thought you were gonna say Chris Farley for some reason.
Oh, that would be a good one too. But I have
that would be a really good
one.
Similar to like Kevin James energy, but I think you'd do a better job with it.
I actually have a really, really good one, and it's doable. John C. Reilly.
Oh.
We know he can sing. He's a great singer.
Yeah, he would
be great. He's got that round kind of face and those like features that make him a little. He's like a cute man, but he's also a little funny looking. He's
got the button sort of. Yeah, he's got he's got the hobo forest Santa look, which is
I feel like that would be a really good choice.
No, I like it. It would definitely work better in like a sort of comedic version, but
he's a pretty comic character. I mean, he makes light of everything. He makes light of Old Man Willow trying to squeeze the hobbits to death. He makes light of the Barrow Wights. He's like, get out of here.
And the ring,
everything is lighthearted for him.
Which is
because he's Tom Bombail.
It's sort of part of why they were able to recover so thoroughly from all of their troubles, which is
all their terror and their
pretty rough for the hobbits. They get to this guy's house and he's like, oh yeah, whatever, man, all that stuff is fine though.
Don't worry about that now.
Check out my hot wife, though. I think
Tom Bombadil and Goldberry are swingers. Like, do you think they have a lot Pineapples and decor in their homes?
I think that's
that they're in the lifestyle.
We're hoping, They've certainly. I bet they've got a bunch of pine cones out because that's all they can get, and they're like, "Why is this not working?" Yikes! Okay, that's something that's the aspect of our show here that Tolkien would be very disappointed in.
But that's why
That's why we're here.
That's why we're the Lord of the Wrongs.
I've got one more bit lined up for us here, and
let's do it. Absolutely.
It's almost a casting. So I've got and this is one that I think we've only done once before, but I've got an alleged allegory for us.
Ooh.
Where, as we know, Tolkien didn't approve of allegory and
yeah,
didn't want his works to be interpreted as such.
Except, of course, for Relief by Niggle, which is absolutely 100% an allegory.
Yeah, that was deliberate, but
yeah, all of his other stuff is not.
No, and I think he was sort of in that way. He was referring to, actual, especially fairy stories and stuff. So
yeah.
But I propose that Tom Bombadil is, a metaphor or I guess a facsimile of Teddy Roosevelt. I think the character was heavily inspired by him, and he dwelt in a forest in the West, and I assume that's what Tolkien just thought America was like. He only went there once. And
Tolkien never went there at all.
Oh no, he never went there.
He never went to the United States. Yeah.
I thought he went there once, but no, he never did. And he wouldn't know anything about America. He'd probably just assume it's basically the old forest, and that's probably what it's based on. And that's why, when the hobbits go to America, they're able to rest from the weary toil and troubles of the British Isles.
This is oddly patriotic stance that you're taking, actually.
And Teddy Roosevelt, he implemented the parks system.
I was going to say he invented the national park. Often described as America's best idea, which I personally agree with.
It's the only. I was just talking to somebody about this. It's the only government agency that you can't really fault too much.
I mean, I think
screw everybody over. They just don't have enough funding. That's their only fault, really.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But it's a great idea. It's protected land. I mean, Tom Bombadil, he
protects the land.
He does, and he'll save people from Old Man Willow, but he's not going to destroy Old Man Willow because Old Man Willow has his place there. That's
but I mean, he basically
is conservation in and of itself.
He dances out like a Rough Rider, and
wait, the rap group.
Yes.
the Rough Riders.
Both the rap group and the Rough Riders themselves. Tom Bombadil, I like to think he sort of thinks of himself as a cowboy of the old forest, or at least a sheriff.
He kind of is the sheriff, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Tolkien mentioned the spurs that he's got on his yellow boots.
Yeah, he's also got a Colts peacemaker in his waistband.
Yeah, he sings softly and carries a big stick.
I mean, he rides a horse.
Yeah. I mean,
the fact that horse is a pony named Fatty Lumpkin is less important, but come on, that's a cowboy.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of Tolkien poking fun at Americans.
Yeah.
Naming his horse Fatty Lumpkin and making him look so goofy. But yeah, I think he's sort of the embodiment of Americans and, specifically Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah. Even the name is similar if you really stretch.
Yeah.
So I think that's I guess the old forest
start with
America.
T. So,
Well, actually, wait. Is the old forest America or is Valinor America?
Ooh, it is the land in the West.
All right, that's something
it's America for the elves. It's a land of opportunity for the elves. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So
I'm sure there's some mercantilism going on.
That's definitely what he had in mind.
Yeah, it is 100% true.
Yep. I'm definitely 100% true.
So all that stuff we said before about him just being mysterious and a product of the Song of Iluvatar, he's just Teddy Roosevelt stand-in.
Yep. Protecting nature. There you go.
All right.
Hopefully less racist than Teddy Roosevelt was, but
yes, well,
it's not hard to be less racist than Teddy Roosevelt was. To be fair,
it's not hard to be less racist than most of America's presidents before.
That is very, very true.
Before the year, 2000.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
anyway.
Yeah,
sure, that's going to piss off somebody. So sorry if that pisses you off, but we just called it like we see it. We're not trying to make any political points here. We're just trying to speak factually. Anyway,
is there anything else you wanted to sort of talk about Tom Bombail, or can we wrap this thing up?
I think we should wrap it up because I feel like we could actually, yeah, we could get into a real long Tom Bombail discussion. I think we could really go off the rails.
Yeah.
And, we're at about an hour, so.
Yeah, we're ready to wrap up.
Yeah,
so,
that does. Yeah.
Would you like to bring us home with a fun fact about Tolkien?
Yeah. So, so today's Tolkien fun fact. Excuse me.
Zerbin's lost in his thoughts.
Yeah. As I often am. If I'm having thoughts, I'm usually also feeling quite lost.
What to make up now?
It's not made up. It's real research into Tolkien and the fun facts that we have about him. It's all real.
Trying to justify this ludicrous claim now.
Yeah. Anyway,
but
so today's
think while I continue my song.
Okay. Anyway, so the Old Forest, this is a true fact about Tolkien. So Tolkien was heavily inspired by, his homeland of England. And so the Old Forest is actually inspired by Sherwood Forest and its role played in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, specifically Men in Tights.
Yep. They do a lot of singing.
Okay.
And so does Tom Bombadil, and that's why, I guess it's more of a legendarium fun fact than about Tolkien himself, but that's what I'm sticking with.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it started off good, and then you had me a little bit on the ropes, but with the singing thing, yeah, that sounds plausible. I didn't know that. That's fun. All right.
It's definitely 100% true fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that does. Honestly, Robin Hood Men in Tights does have some Bombadil energy, so it makes sense.
It really actually does.
Yeah, all right. Well, can't wait for that one next week.
Yeah. Tolkien was a big Mel Brooks fan, so. Who is it?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
doubling down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going hard. I'm good. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, before you dig yourself any further into this hole of research and knowledge, let's wrap things up. You want to tell them where they can find us, or?
Yes, absolutely. If you'd like to write in to the podcast with questions, concerns, corrections, praise, you want to know what our Venmos are to send us money just because, you can do so by sending an email to lordofthewrongspodcast@gmail.com. That's lordofthewrongspodcast@gmail.com. And
should we just drop our Venmo usernames now? Let's not do that.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
All right. So,
all right, we're done.
Yeah, with that, right, I guess we say Namarie.
Namarie. Tune in next time, friends.